Mark, all those horrible things she said to you, it wasn't your fault. Man, let's get it. Moon Knight Episode 5, The Asylum. Director, Mohammed Diab, holding it down for Egypt. Writers, Rebecca Kirsch and Matthew Orton. EP, Kevin Feige, Louis Despacito, Victoria Alonso, Brad Winderbaum, Grant Curtis, Oscar Isaac, Mohammed Diab, and Jeremy Slater. Main cast, my man Oscar Isaac holding it down as the Moon Knight / Mark Spector / Stephen Grant. Ethan Hawke as Arthur Harrow, and Antonia Salib as Taweret. Okay, this episode was crazy, and I'm going to start off by saying this. Obviously, it's the best episode in the series so far. And I would take it as far to say it's the best individual episode of any Marvel show thus far. WandaVision is still the #1 show, but this episode, it towers over any other individual episode. Okay, so what happened? Well, it left off when they encountered Taweret, the giant hippo, the Egyptian goddess of fertility, children, so on and so forth. And now Mark's in the asylum, and he's got to get out. But in order to do that, he has to confront the truth about himself. And, you know, these shows are always good, but with this one, Marvel's out here saving lives. Like, it was crazy. And it really got into the topic of mental health. That was what it was really about. And really, like personal existence. And those two things, I mean, they're really the same thing. So, man, I'm getting like a little misty just thinking about it because it was so deep. And like, I'm sure it hit home for a lot of people. Not necessarily having dissociative identity disorder. That's like the furthest extent. But just the idea of, you know, something happening in the past and dealing with it in the present and so on and so forth. Man. Whew, yeah, it was a home run. It was a great episode. So, in the hallways, Mark has to confront, you know, his past. And, of course, he's extremely resistant to, I mean, he's been running away from it for so long. And not running away from it intentionally, like trying to avoid problems. Just, you know, just the pain of his past was a lot to deal with. He eventually confronts the truth with the help of Stephen and Arthur Harrow, kind of. Which I have other questions about that, but we'll get to that probably in episode 6. But he goes into the room, and you know, that was the crux point. That's where he developed the dissociative identity disorder. You know, just to deal with his issues. It was just, man, I had to pause the episode for a long time in that moment because just picturing that kid, just all that crazy stuff going on, and just that moment where he closed his eyes and like kind of, you know, zoned out, and became, like, created Stephen Grant. Man, yeah, anyone who's been through something can kind of vibe with that moment. Whew, but he faced it. And it didn't, even that moment, because he thought he faced it, I mean, he did, didn't balance the scales of his heart, you know, versus the feather of truth that would let him into the afterlife. Because, yeah, surprise, surprise, he is dead. Like, he got killed. I'm sure he's going to get resurrected, obviously, in episode 6. They're going to free Khonshu somehow, and they're going to bring him back. But, you know, he is dead. He's in the afterlife. But that moment, even when he faced it, still didn't even the scales. Unintentionally, but it didn't matter because he still did it. When the personality of Stephen was eliminated, that's what allowed him to move forward. That's what freed him. Like, you know, he just got rid of that, you know, crutch, quote unquote, defense mechanism. And, you know, he could move on from that moment, which happened probably like 30 something years ago prior at that point. But he was free. Yeah, put that heart on the scale, the feather weighed out, he was even. He did it. And now he's Mark, you know, he's integrated for the first time in a long time. Whew. See, I'm getting misty. Just a crazy episode. A lot of great moments. So now episode 6 is coming next week. They're gonna wrap it up somehow. Like I said, they're gonna free Khonshu. You know, Steven's gonna get his suit back. Steven, see, I'm still saying it. Mark, he's Mark Spector. He's gonna get his suit back, resurrected, and obviously, I mean, if he's got the suit, Arthur doesn't really stand a chance. So, yes, great episode. This isn't even a long video because the episode speaks for itself. Just the level of depth that it had. like I said, best individual Marvel episode of anything they put out so far, easily. So my personal rating for this episode is a 6 out of 5 Feather of Truths. Yes, a 6 out of 5. It was just that good. Transcendent. This isn't going to happen often, so I don't think I'm often throw out like the transcendent, mark. No pun intended. But this episode definitely deserves it. It was, essentially flawless. And it just went to a place that you don't see too many artistic productions go, let alone TV. And it did it excellently. Like, whew, great episode. I'm sure a lot of people needed to see this, like actually needed. So it was great. Again, another great episode of a great show. A 6 out of 5, in fact, transcendent. So, like, subscribe, and stay powerful and keep flexing.